Now we come to our next speaker of today, which is Audrey Tang, as Jenny mentioned already. And Audrey will talk about solving digitalization with transparency and diversity. She is a hacker, and at 35 years of age, she became the youngest minister of Taiwan. And her ministry is responsible for the digitization of Taiwan and its 24 million inhabitants. What is special about this is that she is pursuing a radically new approach to solve problems, relying on game theory and design thinking. So she is actually using digital tools to involve everyone in the decision-making process. And the process not only solves problems with an open innovation approach, but continues to ensure maximum transparency and the development of solutions that really make a difference. Audrey will now tell us in her presentation how this works exactly and what hurdles there are to overcome. Unfortunately, Audrey couldn't be here with us live today, which is why she contributed to this conference with the following video. So please roll the film.
Hello, good local time everyone. I'm Audrey Tang, Taiwan's Digital Minister. Really happy to be here virtually to talk about solving digitalization in politics with transparency and with diversity. I joined the Taiwan cabinet as the digital minister since 2016. Before that, I was a free software programmer, well, still am, a hacktivist, occupied the parliament along with 20 NGOs in 2014 in order to achieve radical transparency when it comes to cross-strait service and trade agreements. And my previous work in the open source and free software communities has really led to a perspective that is based on the idea of taking all the sides. Meaning that people who are dissatisfied with public service, instead of just demonstrating to protest, we can demonstrating to demo, that is to say to fork the government, to take it to a different direction. But then through Creative Commons, we can then bring it together, merge into a new kind of digital service. And this fork and merge dynamic is radically different from previous policymaking ideas. When I joined the cabinet 4 years ago, I have 3 working conditions. First, I work with the government, not for the government, so it's voluntary coordination. All the ministries can send a voluntary secondment to my office to work with me, but not work for me. And the second thing, radical transparency. Everything that I chair, all the meetings, all the media and lobbyist meetings, I publish the entire record in transcript or in video online, also under Creative Commons. And finally, location independence. Anywhere I work, it's my office. So this broadband as human right is not only important for educational and healthcare purposes, but also proved to be invaluable because it shifted us from a media literacy thinking to a media competence thinking, and that in turn has enabled Taiwan to fight the infodemic with no takedown and also win against the pandemic with no lockdown. I think this is definitely one of the greatest ways to make sure that the public benefit ideas, such as reducing plastic bottle use through water refill, things like that, instead of making it a personal habit, there are games, for example, the tea serving app, Feng Cha, which is a recent winner of our presidential hackathon, where every year President Tsai Ing-wen give out 5 trophies to social innovators, and the trophy is the shape of Taiwan with a microprojector underneath. When you turn it on, it shows the president giving you the trophy, promising whatever you did in the past 3 months will become public policy in the next 12 months. And so this app basically gamifies this whole water refilling practice, so that like Pokemon Go, you can check your nearby water refill locations, have a conversation around it, check in daily to earn coins, to redeem those 50 coins into local specialty agricultural goods and things like that. All in all, it makes a lot of people care much more about circular economy, about potential plastic reduction, and also about the importance of drinking more water during this unprecedented heat of climate change. I use the framework of the fast, fair, fun principles that empowers digital social innovation. The FAST principle says that we really need to have a very short iteration cycle from a new idea developed by your co-creators to you noticing that idea and amplifying that idea. Ideally, it should be done in less than a week. And in Taiwan, where we're countering the pandemic, we made sure that our iteration cycle is in 24 hours. Anybody can pick up the phone and call 192 to the call center and tell us their idea. And the good ideas are amplified by them every 2 p.m. live press conference by the Quint, by the 5 medical officers. So people calling in to say, hey, I'm a young boy, I don't want to wear the pink medical mask to school. The very next day, everybody wore a pink medical mask. And so the boy became the most hip boy in the class. And so this is the fast part. The fun part, I think I already talked about the gamification, but humor over rumor, also very important, because when people laughed about something, it's far less likely that they will get captured by the discrimination or the revenge impulses. So just rolling out clarifications that are fun and mimetically useful within the same news cycle, that's to say within a couple hours, that's also very important. But of course, underlying all this is fairness. The equal access to broadband, very affordable broadband access is the underlying idea. Just makes sure that people in any corner in Taiwan or even on the top of Taiwan, almost 4,000 meters high, all enjoy the same equitable access to digital democracy. Well, I guess everyone is an expert in their own life, right? So when we're asking in design thinking terms about the exploration of feelings resonating with each other, there's no right or wrong about feelings. Again, when we're crowdsourcing the facts, the personal experiences, there's no right or wrong because these are just their subjective experiences. So when you're asking about the facts and feelings, and then get the common values out of those very different feelings. This part, the first diamond in design thinking, that can benefit from everyone. And there's no expertise that can substitute for the actual empowering people closest to the pain to share their authentic experiences. Of course, on the second diamond, which is development and the delivery, deployment of the solutions, there are expertise there, and we do need to consult the expert community groups. But the first diamond, I think, really benefits from this listening at scale technologies. Well, I think assistive intelligence, which is what I prefer to call AI, is based on two principles: alignment and accountability. Just like this glass that I'm wearing, it's aligned to my best interest, which is to enable me to see better, instead of aligned with somebody else's interest, like showing me advertisements and hearing aids too, right? So if we think about technologies in a way that always is aligned with the person using the technology to empower the dignity of the person using technology. And we can be accountable to make an account if the bias or the alignment doesn't work. We owe up, we say sorry, we fix that the very next Thursday or within 24 hours. And so once the norm around alignment and accountability can be built, then it also enables people all across the different sectors to collaborate, to measure their air quality, the water quality, to make sure that everybody contribute to climate science and things like that. And that can develop a really good data application. Now, in GDPR terms, it's called joint data controllership, but I prefer to call it data collaborative. This is a great question. I think interdisciplinary collaboration is definitely needed if we want to make an account that makes sure that everybody understands what's in it for them as a data collaborative. This is why in Taiwan, we don't talk about media literacy or data literacy anymore. Since broadband is a human right and broadband is both ways, everyone, including primary schoolers, is a producer, a storyteller, a media curator. And so we talk about media competence and data competence instead of literacy. So with a media competence narrative framework, the data protection is actually taught from the very early on. When you work with a Airbox, which is a very inexpensive, less than 100 euros device that many primary schools use to teach data stewardship, the young children definitely start to learn about the importance of data quality, of enrolling into a distributed ledger, how to make sure to calibrate your data and things like that. And once people understand that this is not just about data collection, data protection, but about a norm of data collaboration, this is like the journalism trainings that all the primary schoolers also are now getting through, because they are, in a sense, journalists when they make their own media. And this is to say they're not just text producers or text collectors. Journalism by itself includes a set of ethics around the community that people need to adhere to. But this is answered in my job description, which I will now read to you. When we see the Internet of Things, let's make it the Internet of Beings. When we see virtual reality, let's make it a shared reality. When we see machine learning, let's make it collaborative learning. When we see user experience, let's make it about human experience. And whenever we hear the singularity is near, let us always remember the plurality is here. Thank you for listening. Live long and prosper.